Welcome to FitByFood, where we outsmart binge eating without restriction. In this video, I'm going to talk about the victim and how the victim archetype correlates to binge eating or emotional eating. When we think about the victim, we think of someone that's been treated unjust. But when I'm talking about the victim in this context, we're talking about the energy of being the victim. So imagine someone in the fetal position. We're not talking about the victim in a literal sense, but in a symbolic. And how we can get trapped in the victim mentality by ourselves. It's internalized. If we are the victim internally and we don't have bullies around us, who is putting the victim hat on? You are. And this is what I want to talk about here. We're going to talk about the energy of the victim and where it can show up so that you get more awareness to when it happens, you realize what you're doing, and then you can lift off the hat. Because you are the one that's fallen into the trap. And when you realize that you put yourself there, it's easy to pick yourself up. Let me give you 3 examples of the victim in action. When you get home from work and you're tired, and it was a hectic day and you had a lot of responsibilities, and you get home and sit down for a moment and you think, I deserve something. This is the victim. Another example is when things don't go your way. And you might have had this experience, I think most of us have, that something just doesn't go right. And let's say we oversleep and we wake up in a bad mood because we're stressed. And then we stumble upon a threshold and hit our toe. And then we pity ourselves. And then it continues like that. You're doing everything quick in a hurry, and then you spill the coffee on yourself and you mutter and you grunt and you think, oh, why is everything happened to me? This is the victim. Another example. You've been really good and restricted your calories for a long while. And then you get super hungry. And then you have this internal battle and you think about the food, you fixate on it. And then eventually you cave and eat something. And then you think, okay, but I already ate this, so I can just binge anyway now. I already ruined it. This is the victim. The common thread here is a feeling, a state of helplessness. We are in a position of everything is attacking me, everything is happening to me, and I don't stand a chance, so I might just give up. This is very similar to the energy of the inner child that I often talk about here at FitByFood. The helpless, not responsible version of ourselves that checks out mentally. It's super common that we go into this patterning. It's very, very common. And there's a safety in this. Oftentimes it happens unconsciously, so we're not even aware that we're doing this. For example, the person that stumbles or hits their toe, spills coffee, they don't realize or want to take responsibility in that instance that maybe it is their attitude, their hurriedness that makes it happen, but they blame the outside. They blame their circumstance. Maybe even they blame the coffee machine. They blame everything. Maybe they blame their phone for not waking them up, but never themselves. In that state, the victim doesn't want to get acknowledged because it can't really take the accountability in that point. And why do we have the victim? There's a few reasons. One is that it creates an identity. I am the one who suffers. Another one, it avoids responsibility. It's not my fault. It thinks that life is unfair, so I can't be accountable. It's very easy to fall into this state because if we take the example with someone that's hurried and getting up late and everything happens to them, if they blame on the outside, it's easier to fall into the habit of, it's not my fault. I don't have to put in as much effort here in this moment to pick myself up and think positively. but just continue reacting to my outside. Another is that it rewards itself. It calls for a reward. Because I suffer, I deserve this treat. And it gives this false sense of control. If I believe that nothing will work out, then I won't be proven that I'm a failure. This can be noticed, for example, if there's a promotion at work and we are hoping for it, but we don't want to get our hopes up too much because we don't want to get disappointed. Then we can fall into this victim state. We think that, oh, okay, I won't get it anyway. They don't like me, like this is the victim again. And then we fall into this self-pity, because we don't want to get disappointed, because we don't want to connect the disappointment to we're not enough. How do we shift this? We need to notice this pattern. We need to get awareness when it happens, because it is so seductive. We don't notice that it happens to us. It's kind of like this trance state, and we just notice that it's this dark, like contracting energy of blaming and feeling pity and just disconnecting from our outside. And when we are in this state, you can see that it's a very pessimistic energy. It's a very pessimistic outlook and feelings and approach towards our environment. What can combat this energy is the opposite, which is positivism, optimism. I will now go through 20 scenarios of how the victim can speak internally. And I'm gonna put the scenarios or the sentences here, the mindsets, the thoughts that you might have, and then I want you to pause on them. If you notice that you can recognize these thoughts in your mind, pause the video and reflect. You can also check the description below, I will put them there. You can write them by hand to practice getting the awareness of them. Writing them down, copying what it says on your screen, writing it literally on a piece of paper helps you digest them also. Because my aim here with this video is that you get awareness about the victim mentality so that you notice it more quick in yourself. Because when you do, it's kind of like you take back the veil. It's kind of like you notice and see through the sneakiness of the victim, because it doesn't serve us. It might have served us when we were a child and not really aware of the responsibility. But now we are aware. Most times we do know better, and falling into this hopeless, disempowered state does not help us. It doesn't achieve our goals because it's a mind mentality. After these 20 mindsets, I'm going to put in 20 new ones that are optimistic. I want you to also feel into them. And can you feel a difference in your body? You can do the same here. Pause and reflect on them. If you do notice that you are in victim mentality, can you shift it? Can you bring in more optimism to help yourself out? Because no one can really help you when you are in a victim mentality. And you can think of when you had a bad day. People might try to bring you up and make you laugh and relax a bit, but you might be in this energy of just pitying yourself. And this is exactly what we're trying to get at. We want to understand it so we can notice it more. Because when you notice what you are doing, you can take responsibility. It's not the outside environment. It might be that something happened that triggered this along, but you are always responsible for how you react. And this is a very empowering thing. You don't have to control your outside or your circumstances because you decide how you respond. This is really mindset work, and this is what we do here at FitByFood. We get empowered knowledge so we can pick ourselves up and have the best life that we can. It might be a good thing to re-watch this video if you feel like this resonated for me. If you feel a tendency of going into the victim and you feel a bit triggered by this video, I would suggest working with the mindset or the thoughts that might be familiar to you and try to see, why do I have so much resistance? Is it that I get triggered because I don't want to believe it, because it's true and I don't feel safe enough to let this go? Try to feel into, can I just try to explore this? Can I just open up the possibility that maybe it's not helping me to be pessimistic? And this is a journey. If you are very identified with the victim mentality, you might get a lot of resistance and not be open enough to try this. But if you are, I invite you to try this out and try to get more familiar with this pattern. Another thing is that when we get our cycle as women, this is very big, especially just before our menstruation. We really fall into the victim, and this is where we often crave chocolate and want to eat pity food because we feel bad about ourselves. And during these times, it's hormone changes that causes this, but it's also an opportunity to work with a victim if you want something more controlled, because you know that around your period, there you have the victim. And I love talking about the victim. I find it so fascinating and empowering, because when we get enough awareness about this, we can really be in the most pitiful state and really hate the world and just want to hide. And then if we notice what we're doing, it's like taking off a heavy coat, like a heavy blanket, and just realizing and being lifted up, because you realize that you are doing this. It's your perspective, and that is so empowering. So thank you for watching, and remember, it is possible to get fit by food.